Right. So as you know, this is a very serious operation that we run here. We run a really tight ship. It's a very professional scenario that I put myself into with these airplanes. And so I'm going to tell you that the most important part of this entire project is to stay organized. And when I'm telling you to stay organized, I'm asking you to have a Sharpie on hand, some Ziploc bags, and you're going to write the name of the part that the screws go to and put it on that Ziploc bag. Now, I've looked around this entire hangar and I cannot find a single Sharpie. I'm pretty sure there's one out in my car, but my car is outside and I'm inside and I'm not walking outside. So what I've done is I have put the screws for this access panel in a Ziploc bag. I've put a piece of tape on it with the intention of writing something on it, but I don't have the Sharpie, so I didn't write anything on it. I took a little piece of duct tape and I just kind of taped it to this cat whisker antenna right here for the ILS or the nav. And I hope that when I'm not here in a week, one of the A&Ps, TI-85, Simon, one of them, Carl, one of them remembers what I was trying to accomplish here. This is a professional operation that we run. All right, let's keep moving. Welcome back. It's annual season for this B35 Bonanza, and I thought I'd take you along for the start of it. I hope you enjoy. Let's go find a home for these. Well, the time has come to get serious about this airplane, and that is why I am here. I am going to spend a little time opening up all the access panels on the bottom of the airplane, and that is something that you as an owner can do anytime you want. You can take a peek in there anytime you want, but especially for annual, you've really got to open up the airplane so that you can see all the pulleys and cranks and cables and push rods and push tubes, depending on what kind of airplane you're flying. And there are a bunch of access panels under the airplane that I'm just gonna take a screwdriver and just undo the screws and then leave them open. What my A&P will do, or my IA will do, is come in after I've opened up all that stuff, get his mirror, a flashlight, a bore scope, whatever it is, and take a look at all the different mechanisms, whether they are in good shape or not. You're looking at the pulleys to see that the cables have not worn through the pulleys. You're looking for play and bearings. You're looking for corrosion. You're looking for binding, for chafing. You're looking for the condition of the ends of the cables. You're looking for fraying of the cables. If you've got push rods, you're looking for cracks in the push rods. So it's a really thorough visual inspection. People think airplanes are pretty complicated. They're actually not that complicated. They're just push rods and tubes and pulleys and cables that you just open up and you take a look. So that's what I'm going to do today, is just open up some of these access panels to get ready for shining flashlights down into those different areas. Now, there's a lot more that has to be done on an annual. You got to run the engine up. We've got to drain the oil. We've got to get compressions. We've got to do control throws to make sure that the controls are deflecting the amount that they're supposed to be deflected. I've got to take the back seat out so we can look down into the area in the airplane where there are pulleys and cables. Check all the electrical, check the lights. But because we do those things every year, we can keep this airplane flying for a very, very long time. This airplane is a 1950 Beechcraft model B35, Bravo 35. Let me get into opening up this airplane so we can start really diving into the annual. A lot of the critical stuff, the big money items, we've already taken a look at, so we can get ahead of parts and parts availability. So we're feeling pretty good about that. But the little things that a lot of people overlook. The little details are the things that I'm going to be targeting, at least starting today. Okay, I'm going to put this down. I'm going to actually get to work. I'm going to take snippets here and there if I can, but don't be upset if I can't show you the entire process. I really just do need to get it done and need to get it done safely. So, see you in a little bit. Alright, this one for me is going to be step one, is getting the stinger off. You'll see that the stinger on this airplane is a little bit different from mine. It's a lot more rounded right there. Mine is a little bit more pointy. The pointy end is a little bit more of a modern look, but this is the original look for the back of the Stinger. It's got a UAvionics tail beacon on here for ADS-B out, and so we know that there is an electrical connection running somewhere within the Stinger. On this Stinger, there are just screws right here. So all I'm going to do is, I'm going to try to put you down before I do this, but put my screwdriver on it and slowly work the screws out. And I'm going to bag these up and then put them right back in this area so I know what came out of that spot. These are brand new looking screws, so you're probably going to reuse those. They're non-structural in this sense. So we're going to reuse those screws, pull this off, and that'll give us a good view at the mechanism under the V-tail. Here's another axis panel right here, and it's hard to see in there, but you can see some cables. I don't have a flashlight, do I? Let's see, my phone. Yeah, you can see control cables right there. That's how you take a nice good look at your control cables. And then there's more flight control mechanisms up in that area for the V-tail. We got to grease some of these areas and then put something like ACF 50 into this airframe to keep it from corroding over time, or to help the corrosion stay away. So that's what we're going to do there. And then the same thing happens on the bottom of the airplane, their axis panel. So let me get to work popping that off. I'll show you what it looks like onto the Stinger. So there you go. The Stinger was right there. I removed the screws, had enough slack in this wire, which has a Molex style connector on it. You might not be able to see that, it's not in focus, but simple connection, just pulled that apart. Stinger came off, and here it is in my hands. I'm going to put this with the rest of the parts for this airplane, like the spinner. Stinger goes next to the spinner. That way we can keep it all together. And I may put one screw into it and the rest of the screws in a bag inside it to make it easier to find. That way, if I put one screw in one of these holes, let's say the hole right there, I put one screw in, it's a visual example of what type of screw, what type of hardware came out. So it makes it easier to, even if we lose the hardware, we know exactly what type of hardware we need to find to put back into this Stinger. So yeah, this you can see a pulley right there. So you're going to take a nice good look at that. The push-pull rods that are on the ruddervator mechanism. You got some of the adjustment bolts for the stops, the travel stops of the ruddervators. And so we'll be taking a nice good look in this area, cleaning it up, and then lubricating it again, seeing how the bearings are looking. This is the first time we've opened up this area, so that's what we'll do. Okay, this is an unflattering angle. You might think I'm just laying down on the job, but I'm actually on a automotive style creeper, and I have my handy dandy screwdriver. And what I'm doing right now is rolling my way into position under the airplane. You can't tell, but I'm currently under an airplane. Let's look up. Here is the bottom of an airplane. This is another axis panel right here, so I'll be popping this off. There's another axis panel back here, and this is actually really clever. Let me see if I can turn you around to this. The camera doesn't know what I'm trying to do. That's the Stinger area back there where I just removed it. There's another axis panel right here, and this has a nav antenna attached to it. This is actually what I want to do on my airplane, to remove the flying V from the top, because it makes it easier to get the a cover onto the airplane if I put my antenna down here. And it also removes the flying V from the top of the airplane, which some people like, but it causes a lot of drag up there. So this is actually a drag reduction modification right here, even though it doesn't look like it. So I'll remove this, disconnect that antenna so we can take a nice good look up into the mechanism for the rotorvators. And then I'll open up this, and then there are more on the bottoms of the wings over here. I'll probably open up this right here. I think this is the drain for the fuel tank. I'll have to double check that. There's another access panel there for taking a look at the landing gear, motor, and transmission. And then over on the other wing, there are more things over there. This is getting kind of awkward because I'm hanging upside down. I don't know which way is up. So sorry if you're getting dizzy right now, but I'm just trying to show you the reality of it. So I'll be on my back opening up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 access panels. And I'm going to do this without the A&P being here because his time is very precious. And so I'm not going to pay, quote unquote, pay that person to sit here and watch me open up access panels. After that, I'm going to take a look into these access panels to see what it looks like under there and make an assessment for myself until my A&P gets here. And he, with his trained eyes, can make a better assessment of where we are with the quality of this airplane. So let me get those done and stop hanging upside down. I can already feel my neck straining just a little bit. So let me go focus on this and then I'll get back to you all later. Yep, nothing to see here. I'm actually wearing good clothes right now because I'm coming straight from work and just wanted to spend an hour doing this, using my time wisely. So I'd recommend putting on something you don't like, maybe the losing team's jersey or a t-shirt from last year, something you can find on eBay or at a Goodwill. Don't ruin your nice clothes. Do not be like me. I make horrible decisions and try to fit too much in my day, so I haven't had the time to change. But I do have time to hang out with you, and that's the important part. Sorry this angle is so unflattering. Okay, right now I have a decision to make because we're not removing anything from this hole. I'm going to just leave the access panel hanging by one screw. I've loosened that screw. I've just moved the panel to the side. That'll make it easy to not lose the panel, so we'll be able to find the panel because it's right in place. We'll just put it back where it needs to be. But it also allows a quick visual check. If you're just looking from the side of the airplane, you'll see that panel hanging down and you know you need to put it back into place. But I'm not going to take it away from the airplane because it gets mixed up with all the other airplanes that we're dealing with. The other thing is someone's going to say in the comments, you shouldn't be using power tools around airplanes. I think power tools for removals of all these access screws is perfectly fine. I'm going to be really careful when I put them back into place. The final torque is going to be with a screwdriver. But removals for non-seized screws, I think is just perfectly fine. If you want to take your time with a screwdriver and remove each one of these screws, that is your prerogative. You're more than welcome to do that. I will not judge you for doing it, but I'm going to use power tools to remove most of the screws. Now, if the screw is stripping and I can't get it out, I have the gun on a low torque setting. If it's not coming out while I'm trying to pull the screw out, then we've got another problem. I just stop. I go to a screwdriver or a screw extractor. If that's not working, I wait for my A&P to get in so we won't do more damage that he or she would have to address in the future. So this is the reality of airplane ownership. If you're trying to save an hour worth of labor, remove your access panels yourself and leave the bigger jobs for the people who are trained to do the bigger jobs. This is fair game for an owner. just get a good creeper, a good rolling creeper here, and bag your screws appropriately so you won't lose them. I may just take these and just put them one by one back into the holes. I don't know. I think I've run out of Ziploc bags or baggies. I did not come prepared. Don't be like me. Come prepared. Wear the right clothes. Talk to your A&P. Buy them lunch. Be good to these folks. We love them and we care for what they can do for us. Okay, I'm gonna get back to work. You don't need to watch me do all this stuff. Or maybe you do. I don't know. I don't know what you're into. I'm not gonna judge you. Okay. Then I wanted to show you something. Now this is not a criticism of anyone who's worked on this airplane before, but it kind of is. Here's some insight for you. If the screw that you're putting back into the airplane looks like that, as in you can't really see a defined cross pattern to put a screwdriver into, don't put that screw back into the airplane. That's my rant. That screw is stripped, and it's probably been stripped several times over. So just, if you need to go to Ace Hardware, go to Ace Hardware. I don't care. This thing is not structural, but this is going to cost me time in trying to get that screw out. It shouldn't be that bad, but I'm exaggerating here just a little bit. I'm only a little bit upset. But if that screw looks that way when you are working on it, just go get a new screw. Just get a new screw. Okay, this one's opened up. And so when you shine a flashlight in there, which I will get a better flashlight at some point, you see that the inside of this airplane has been nicely painted or coated with something that should help keep corrosion at bay. So it's got some kind of coating in there. And you can see a control cable there. And then there's another control cable within sight up there. So that's what the A&P is going to be looking at. They're going to stick a mirror down there to check the cable, check its condition. And then I think that cable passes through here as well, in the landing gear well, right in the shadow of the camera. So they're going to be checking the tension of those cables. They're going to be checking the rigging of this landing gear. So I'm just helping them out, opening up that access panel and then an access panel further down on the wing. I'm upside down. I'm hanging on the ground, so I don't know which way is up and which way is down. So I'm sorry if the video is all over the place. I'm really apologizing if I make you dizzy, but a lot of people like to see this kind of stuff. Okay, an owner opening up access panels. Let's keep moving. Okay, we just opened this one up, and it's sprayed up really nicely with some kind of coating. I'm gonna have to take a better look, but it's coated with something, which is great. That's gonna keep corrosion at bay, and that means someone has serviced this airplane recently. So we're gonna look up in there, take a nice good look at the push rods and all the tubes and all the stops of the ailerons, check the rigging of the ailerons, make sure that the stops are where they're supposed to be, and that's why we're opening up the airplane. See, here's the same access panel on the opposite wing, but it has nice screws, good screw heads. And the aileron mechanism is right in there. Right in there. Okay, let's see what else we can pull open. Okay, so in the same vein of being organized, I'm using this video as a note-taking opportunity. I have removed the screws from one of the access panels from the left wing. It's the outboardmost access panel. It's the one I was complaining about had screws that are stripped out, just like that, stripped out. I'm going to throw these screws in the trash. They're not going back onto this airplane. If you're doing stuff like this, you're doing it wrong. Hey, it worked, and it's probably worked for many years, but we can do a little bit better. I'm going to throw these, look at this, in the trash. Those are gone. We have to replace them. Do I have the appropriate type of hardware to replace them with right now? No. Am I going to forget this whole conversation in like a week? Yes. And then we're going to have to dive around the hangar, try to find screws. I'm going to dish them out of the trash, put them back in. That's kind of how this whole thing works. But anyways, if you remember, remind me in the future that the screws went in the trash. I need to bring screws down from my hangar up in Savannah. Okay, so we have opened up the access panels on the bottom of the wings. We've opened up the access panels under the cowling, under the cheeks of the cowling for the engine. We've opened up the whole back of the airplane where the most complex mechanism is. The stinger, onto the stinger is all the mechanisms for the rotovators. We've opened up the access panels to look at the ailerons and the bell cranks. Let's see what other cool things we can do. I'm going to try to open the luggage door, the baggage door, and see if the bulkhead to the back of the airplane is easy to access. And I'm going to try to get access so we can see down into the tunnel of the airplane where we have to do visual checks of the skins of the airplane. I can see it from the outside, but you really want to check on the inside where there's no paint and where the structure really meets all of those ribs and formers and stringers. You really want to check in there. So that's what I'm going to try to attack next before I go home. What other cool things can I do today? That's pretty much it. I don't want to drain the oil just yet. This thing probably has really good oil in it, if it has any oil at all, because it's been leaking. I'm going to try to figure something else out before I drive an hour back home. But we're looking pretty good. All of this work I'm doing on my own. There is no mechanic here. There's no A&P, no certified person here, no A&P here. I'm an owner. I'm allowed to do preventative maintenance on the airplane. I'm allowed to open up access panels on the airplane. And I'm allowed to put those panels back into place after a professional has gone in and inspected what they need to inspect for the annual. So I'm going to save an A&P an hour of time by opening up all of the stuff on the airplane, organizing all the screws that I just removed, and just adding more value to their day so that they can have a productive time when they come and visit this airplane and take a look at it. The wingtips of this airplane are a little shorter than mine, and they're a little rounded. That's the classic style. I am going to remove all of the screws for the wingtips. It's going to be one of the last things we do on the inspection, is remove these so that we can get ACF 50. So it's a spray that that we can fog the entire wing with to help fight off corrosion. So eventually we're going to spray ACF 50 down into the wings, and we're going to pull off the winglets, the wingtips, so we can take a look at these outer ribs, maybe snake a inspection camera down some of the ribs and look for corrosion, look for spots where a rat's nest might be, a literal rat's nest might be hanging out because this airplane hasn't flown for a little while, or birds might have gotten up into the wheel wells and migrated all over the place, mud daubers. So we're going to take the wingtips off, and that's going to be a part of the annual inspection. I don't have the annual inspection sheet sitting in front of me right now, but I know that all the access panels on the airplane have to be opened up. And so that's where I'm starting. And if you have a mechanic that tells you, hey, this year we're not going to open up everything, we're not going to take a look at this thing or this other thing, fire that mechanic, because it's really important to your health and the longevity of this airplane that you do a nice, thorough job and inspect the entire thing. Now, if your mechanic has advanced technology like bore scopes and 360 cameras with lighted ends and all kinds of stuff where they can go and take pictures and high detailed, high resolution imagery of the airframe, and they said, well, I can get it into that position without you taking the entire airframe apart, and that's a different story. We can have that conversation later on. Technology is moving on. A 4K camera is so attainable right now with a nice big flashlight on the end that might be the better way to inspect some of the things back in the tail, because you can stick it back there, you can take an image, you can zoom in, you can really take a look at how the, let's say, the phenolic pulleys are wearing with the cables wrapped around them. You can see if they're getting gouged, or they're offset, or you can see cracks, that kind of thing. You're still going to have to legally lay eyes on it. At some point, you're going to have to look down there. But taking pictures of the airframe would be awesome. That way, when we do this again next year, we can compare those images to something that we already have. So there's a great idea, right? You can stick a camera back there, see what you can see, and record that for the future. But right now, I am going to pop that open. Look at this. This airplane has the door stored on here on the baggage door and on the main entry door as well. So when you pop the door, it opens for you. And it's a nice, soft, gentle open. And it's still moving nice and slowly. It's going to open there and it's going to hold it open to make it easier to get in and out of the airplane. And when you start the motor, the door won't slam. Or when a gust of wind hits the door, it won't slam into the side of the airframe. So the front seat's already out. It is sitting on a table right here. There are the gill panels. There are no gills on these E-Series Bonanzas. They didn't come with the gills on here. I don't know if you can do an STC to add the gills, but if you put a bigger motor on here, I'm pretty sure it's a part of the STC. You get the little slots, the slotted gills like my airplane has. But what I'm going to do now is look in the back of the airplane. I'm going to need a better flashlight at some point to do this. But what you're looking at over here on the right is the third fuel tank. So there is a big tank, fuel tank, right here behind the rear seat. So there's a little baggage area. This will probably fit some golf clubs back here and a carry-on, 2-3 carry-ons. But you lose a little bit of luggage space because there's a bigger fuel tank. So you can fly a lot further. You lose a little bit of space. And then this bulkhead back here, it's really hard to show this, but right there on the back of the airplane is what I'm going to focus on next to try to open that up so we can peek down into the belly or the tail of the beast, the empennage of the beast. I see that there's some screws on what looks to be like an upholstery piece. Why they didn't use snaps, I don't know. But I see also some adhesive right here in the edges, so I'm hoping it's not stuck down. Really hoping it's just easy to remove and we can stick our head back there and take a nice good look. So that's going to be my next thing, and probably the last thing I do before I leave here. Oh, that's a good little note right there. It is a 20-gallon aux fuel tank. So 20 extra gallons. That's 2 hours of flying in this airplane. Right there, inside the airplane. Plus the tanks that you already have on the wings. Each tank holds 20 gallons. So 20, 40, 60. This airplane holds 60 gallons. That's pretty good to know. Well, here's a situation update. I'm starting to take these screws out. And it turns out that yes, they are the screws to remove this back area. So we'll be able to take a look back here in a little bit. So let me just continue pulling these out. I'll bag those up and then pull this entire back wall out so we can look down that way. That'll be great progress for today. Also, looks like the floorboards in this airplane are in really nice shape. I was hoping we didn't have to make new ones, and looks like we don't. Also, this looks like it's just kind of snapped. It's got some snaps on it down low, I think. Yep. And I can see some pulleys right under there. You can't, but I can. So yeah, we're going in the right direction here. Let me continue removing this, and we shall see what we see. Just kind of be nice and careful not to lose any of these screws into the belly of the airplane. They're just kind of going down there. This is really hard to do one-handed, guys. I'm really sorry my hands are looking really shaky, but it's really just because it's almost impossible to do this efficiently with one hand. But we're going one screw at a time. This is the reality of it all. You get to do this a couple times. You get to do this once a year so that you can fly for, you know, the rest of the year. So yeah, let me keep moving here. Okay, let's see if we can get some light in there. All right, now you can see the pulleys I was talking about. Looks very familiar back here. The ELT is right there, very conveniently located. The sidewalls seem to have some sort of a noise deadening coating on it. The floors are very clean. Those pulleys at first glance look really good, but I'm not gonna inspect those right now. I'm just opening things up. We can inspect some other day. But it looks really clean back here, so it'd be really easy to work back here. Let's take a look. Yeah, the walls look really nice. Everything over here looks really nice. The floors look really nice. You can definitely tell, like if you look in the floors right here, you can definitely tell that someone has sprayed like ACF 50 or some other type of anti-corrosion coating on this airplane. It looks very, very nice back here. Very clean. Very clean. There seems to be a lot more access and a lot more space back here than what's in my P35 Bonanza. So yeah, very nice. You'd really wish you could push the baggage area back just a little bit, but these things have got such weird CG envelopes that might not be a thing. But yeah, the ELT, we're gonna have to check its battery. I may do that before I leave so we can buy a new one if it's out of date. And yeah, 6 September 2022. So yeah, I'll be looking at that. But yeah, this is looking quite nice. Very nice. So there's step one. We're going to continue working on this airplane over the next couple of weeks, and I really hope that you stick around to see more. All right, be good to yourselves and visit a local pet shelter to see what they've got going on. 'Tis the season. Catch you later.